All right, everybody, let's spill some tea. How about that? You guys ready to spill some tea? Let's do a little segment here reviewing other music YouTubers in which I will brutally destroy with biting commentary and unflinching criticism. I will brutally destroy every other YouTuber in the space. Just kidding. I'm not gonna brutally destroy anybody or spill any tea. But I thought, you know what? It'd be fun to give you my 2 cents on a few other music YouTubers. So let's do that, because I think it's fun. I think it's fun to talk about it. That's right. Facts don't care about your feelings. That's right. And also, you can get expert care for hair loss from the comfort of your own home without ever visiting a doctor's office or pharmacy with today's sponsor, Keeps. They'll deliver a personalized treatment plan that's recommended by a licensed medical professional right to your door on your schedule. And it's usually around half the cost of typical pharmacy prices. Keeps offers both of the FDA-approved hair loss treatment options, as well as a 2-in-1 gel that combines both treatments. And all of this is proven to work, supported by numerous clinical studies. And as part of your Keeps treatment plan, you can message your medical care provider or the Keeps care team anytime through their secure messaging portal. Keeps offers a bunch of other products like hair thickening shampoo, conditioner, and styling pomade. So whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair you have, Keeps has you covered. For a special offer to get you started, go to keeps.com/Finn or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/Finn, Finn. Let's talk about Rick Beato. Now, I will say this. Rick Beato has forgotten more about music theory in like 10 minutes than I will ever know about it in my entire life. You can say what you want about his opinions or anything else, but the guy knows his stuff when it comes to music theory. He is the guitar guy final boss. It's true. Also, best air drummer in the game. No question about it. You know when Rick's feeling something and he gets out the air drums. In all seriousness, what I want to do for this is basically talk about the things that I have learned from some of these other YouTubers, or the things about them that I find inspiring or that I take influence from. And with Rick, it was a real eye-opening moment for me. I remember I watched one of his videos a couple years ago when he said, you know, people think of me as a guitar YouTuber. I don't really see it that way. I think of this as a music appreciation channel. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And that really kind of flipped a switch for me of like, oh, that's what my channel needs to be. And so that's when I kind of changed. I didn't change direction, but I really I pivoted just a little bit with the goal. Like, I just figured like, oh, well, what people want from my videos is to enjoy music more. And I think he does a great job of that, because even though, like, let's be real, there's like a 0.01% chance that most of the people in the audience have any clue what he's talking about from a theory perspective. You know, you watch his videos and you feel like you enjoy the music more, or you understand the music more than you did before. So that's what I have kind of tried to learn from him. And he's just a very likable, enthusiastic guy. And, you know, look, 3.6 million subscribers, you know, I mean, he gets like millions of views on all his videos. So I think he's an inspiration, especially because I think he's like 61 or something like that. I'm a little bit on the older side. He's got a few years on me, but I'm not young. And I think he didn't even start YouTube until he was like, I don't know, 55 or something like that, or over 50 in any case. So super inspiring and just a very likable guy. Unfortunately, I will never be as likable as him. It's like listening to the radio being stuck with your rich friend's dad in the car while he drives you home. Yes, except that your rich friend's dad also knows an obscene amount of music theory. So that's what I think about Rick Beato. Good guy, and definitely knows his stuff. Now, let's talk about the younger equivalent, your man, Nik Nocturnal. First of all, gotta say, congratulations on hitting 1 million subscribers. That is incredibly impressive. 1 million subscribers, talking about metal, that is no joke, man. I mean, he is definitely the most influential and the most important creator in the metal space. And once again, I think he kind of does the same thing that Rick does, in the sense of like, I think what Nik is very good at is making YouTube a friend simulator. Like he says, we do fun metal stuff. You put on Nik, he's super likable, and you just feel like you're sitting around bullshitting with your friend talking about metal. You know, he's right. He reacted to my reaction of his video the other day, and he made a great point of basically, he didn't use these exact words because he's too nice for this, but I said like, why don't people listen to me, but they do listen to you? And in so many words, he said, because you're a fucking dick and nobody wants to listen to you because you're a dick and you yell at people. And I was like, you know, he's right. He's right. And his, you know, success is proof of that. Very entertaining. Like, I don't really care about the vast majority of the music that he listens to or talks about, but he's one of the very few music YouTubers that I watch regularly because he's just like, it's just pleasant to have him on screen and hear him talk. And so, you know, again, I'm never going to be as likable as he is because that's just not me, unfortunately. I wish I was. But that is the thing that I have learned from him. And, you know, think about what he does for the scene also. You know, 1 million subscribers. I don't know how many monthly views he gets, several million, I'm sure. But this is the kind of person that we need, you know, in the same way as he had Headbangers Ball back in the day and Steven's Untitled Rock Show and all that kind of thing. You know, Nik is that for like modern metal. And I think it's awesome and it's super inspiring. You know, you would never think that you could get 1 million views talking about, you know, Sleep Token and Lorna Shore and stuff like that, and he proved that it's possible. So shout out to Nik. I think it's really cool. Like, I genuinely think it's really inspiring and cool. He's been doing this for like 10 years now, and to hit 1 million subscribers is amazing. Genuinely think it's super cool and inspiring. Okay, now how about Adam22 of No Jumper? He was a big inspiration to me in the beginning because, you know, he sort of put himself on the map by interviewing a lot of SoundCloud rappers when they were coming out. XXXTentacion was kind of the big one that I think made his channel come up, but he also did a lot for like Ghostmane and Suicide Boys and Peep and all those kind of people. And very impressive. I mean, he has, I don't know what, like a couple dozen employees or something like that, you know, bought a $5 million building recently. I mean, the man knows his business. I would say of any YouTuber of our generation, I'd say Adam has the best business mind. I was on No Jumper a couple years ago. Pretty cool. Wore my Cerebral Incubation shirt on No Jumper, Metal Moment. That was like a huge honor because, you know, No Jumper, a huge platform, again, 4.6 million subscribers. I sat in the same chair that Selena Powell farted in. The biggest accomplishment of my life. My butthole has touched the same chair as Selena Powell's butthole. So to me, like, what's inspiring about Adam is just, you know, his hustle and what he has built. Like, No Jumper is like a legitimate platform in hip hop. I would say, you know, it's probably what the next notch down from like the Breakfast Club, I would say, is No Jumper. It's like legitimately, it's really, and you know, he's a hardcore kid. He's a hardcore kid that came up, you know, in the scene, same kind of eras. He's a couple years younger than me, basically the same era as I did. Super cool, you know, that he has built what he has. And most recently, your man on TMZ, because, you know, him and his wife, Lena, are active in the adult entertainment industry. And can see here she did a scene meaning she touched peepees with Jason Love. I don't know that I would do it, but listen, it worked. The man knows how to make money. I would probably choose to make money differently, but, you know, nonetheless, the point is Adam22, inspiration in terms of running his business. I will say that, you know, he's really made me kind of think bigger than I thought I could. Now let's talk about Mary Spender, who I've reacted to a couple of her videos. She is a British YouTuber. Again, very likable. I wish that I was as likable as people like her. And I will say she has one of the most pleasant speaking voices I have ever heard. Listen to this.
Baby boomers, aka anyone in their early 60s to mid-70s.
Pleasant.
And nostalgia is a wistful or excessively sentimental yearning for the past.
Right?
Typically,
like, you could just listen to her read the phone book. She should read like children's books, like Wind in the Willows or something like that. I would listen to her read Wind in the Willows all day long. I will also say that I think, like, of all the YouTubers who do music, I think she might be the most talented, maybe. Her singing voice is fucking incredible. This is one of her original songs.
I know you'll move move on.
She's great.
Well, I'm long gone, but I'm only 6,000 miles away.
Right? Like, amazing voice. I mean, this is like major label level performance here, in my opinion. She's fantastic. Might be the most talented in terms of like original music, in my personal opinion. But also just, you know, very nice person. I don't watch all her videos, but I don't think I've ever heard her say anything like nasty or, you know, harsh or anything like that. And again, unfortunately, it's very easy for me to come off as a harsh, critical asshole. Unfortunately. And so with people like Nick and Mary and Rick, you know, that to me is like the biggest kind of thing, is like, maybe you should try to be a little bit less like yourself and a little bit more like them. And then maybe people would like you more, you asshole. So shout out to Mary. I think she does a very good job of like telling her own personal story also, but just, you know, very nice person and super talented musician. So shout out to Mary. How about Trap Lore Ross? Trap Lore Ross does, I guess you would call it hip hop commentary kind of stuff. The last thing he did here was this video about the rapper King Von. King Von, rap's first serial killer. And you can see this is 3.5 hours long, and it has 8.3 million views. Like, this is a legitimate documentary. Like, there's a lot of people that say that they make documentaries, but I don't think they really do. I mean, this is 3.5 hours long. It's like everything that there is to know about King Von. And he's made a lot of other videos like this, a lot of other like legitimate documentaries. For example, he did this whole series on the war in Jacksonville. I don't remember where it is. But yeah, Jacksonville's Deadly Gang War. Yeah. A 2-hour video. And I had no idea about this. I had no idea that there was like all this gang violence in Jacksonville. And I'm pretty sure there's like 7.5 million other people that didn't know either. So I would say, as far as like actual, like, I won't call it journalism because I don't know that it's journalism exactly. But in terms of like, you know, research and just the level of like effort and detail that goes into his videos in the music space, I think Trap Lore Ross is the best. And I used to kind of think it was weird that he's like this white British guy talking about, you know, street beef involving like inner city black Americans. I used to think that was kind of weird, but I changed my opinion about that because he's pointed out, he's like, well, they talk about this stuff on the news. Why is it okay for CNN or whatever to talk about this, but it's not okay for me to talk about it? And I said, you know, he's got a good point. And also, like I said before, 7.5 million people now know that there was a Jacksonville gang war that probably didn't know about it before. You know, if you're a guy from the hood in Jacksonville, you can't make that video or someone would kill you. So I think it's actually really important for someone outside of the community to document this stuff because he can. Because he's British and he doesn't have to worry about people trying to kill him over this stuff. And so what I've learned from him, I think, is just this, like, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to put this much work into a video, but there's a time and a place to like really push yourself to like get all the receipts and get all the details and like really just dive deep into it. So shout out to Trap Lore Ross for that. That's kind of what I've learned from him. Now we got to talk, of course, about Anthony Fantano, right? Got to talk about Anthony Fantano. He is the OG of all this stuff. No question about that. Anybody in this space who does, you know, music commentary of any kind, we all rip off Anthony Fantano to some extent, right? Because he basically proved that you could do this. He started doing YouTube, I think, in maybe like 2010, and you know, he's making a nice living for himself talking about music on the internet, which is something that I don't think anybody ever thought was even possible back then. And he's been so consistent. I mean, he's made probably thousands of videos at this point. He's been so consistent, just grinding and grinding and grinding. And I think there's two things about him that are inspiring, or that I appreciate in particular about him. Number one, I did a couple like guest videos on his channel, I think in like 2019 when he went on tour. I did a video about metalcore on his channel, so that was really cool that he asked me to do something on his channel. It was really cool. Number two, I would say that he's probably the single most influential music critic or talking head or whatever. He's the most influential music talking person of the past 15 years. Like, no question about it. You know what I mean? Like, his words really matter. Like, people really care what he thinks. The thing that I really appreciate about him is he legitimately does not give a fuck what people think about him and his opinions. Like, I know people think that he says things just to be provocative. I do not think he does. I don't know him super well, but I've talked to him, you know, a few times, and I think he legitimately does not give a fuck what anybody thinks. And, you know, that's not easy to do because there's a lot of people that fucking hate him. Yeah, he got dissed by Drake. That's right. He did. I'll be honest with you. Lots of times I'm scared to share my opinions because I don't want to piss people off. And he just fucking lets it fly, for better or worse. I do think, you know, like Logic said, I do think that sometimes, you know, he can be a little bit of a dick. He can dish it out, but I think he can also take it too. I mean, he doesn't cry when people come after him too. So, you know, more than anything, I think Anthony Fantano is the Black Sabbath of being a music talker man. Being a white guy with music opinions on the internet, he's the Black Sabbath of that. Let's talk about Rock Feed. My man Brian from Rock Feed. Brian is a good friend of mine. In addition to being a great YouTuber, I mean, you can see 773 subscribers. Again, closing in on 1 million subscribers, talking about metal. He also has another channel called Country Cast, where he talks about country. He has been just like a really valuable sounding board for me over the years. I talk to him like, I mean, probably almost every day, and just always like helps me like kind of bounce ideas around and, you know, should I do a video about this? Should I do a video about that? You know, that kind of thing. And the thing about Brian, just a very optimistic person. He always believes that it's possible. You know, he always is just like, yeah, man, you can do it. Like, you got it. And he's not blowing smoke up your ass or up his own ass. Like, he's just one of these like genuinely very supportive, enthusiastic kind of people. And number one defender of butt rock on the internet. You guys know that butt rock is officially the best genre of music. No bigger fan of butt rock than Brian Storm. The man non-ironically loves his Shinedown and Nickelback, you know, Breaking Benjamin and all that stuff. He is the truly the patron saint of butt rock, the man out there fighting the good fight, putting butt rock on the map for the rest of us. So Brian, great friend, you know, again, great YouTuber. Let's see, how many views has he had in total? 232 million views. Look at that shit. 232 million views. I have like almost 100 million between two channels. So he's got more than double the views that I do. Impressive shit. How about, who else do we have to talk about? How about your man, Tank the Tech? Tank the Tech, if you're not familiar with him, he is a roadie. Originally started out doing like merch for like big artists, like, you know, Nickelback and Katy Perry, I think. I don't remember. I don't want to say the wrong ones, but he, you know, did merch for like huge major label artists. And now for the past several years, he's been a tech. So the kind of people who are responsible for like setting up the back line, you know, the guitars and the drums and stuff like that. Right now, he is on tour with Electric Callboy. He's tour managing their current US tour. What I appreciate about him is that he's one of these people that he actually knows what the fuck he's talking about, which is very rare on YouTube. So when he talks about music industry stuff, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's not just pulling shit out of his ass, which is what a lot of people do. So when he says, this is how much it costs a band to go on tour, or, you know, this is how merch works, or here's the reason why this band canceled their tour, like, he doesn't talk unless he knows what he's talking about. And this is why, like, if anyone has questions about, you know, going on tour or how merch works or whatever, I'm like, I don't know, you should ask Tank the Tech, because he actually knows what he's talking about, unlike me. I don't know anything about, you know, touring or, you know, how the merch business works or any of that stuff. Also, just really, you know, good, friendly guy. So check him out if you happen to go to that Electric Callboy tour. Definitely say hi to him. Check out his videos. Very nice guy. I appreciate anybody that actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, as opposed to all these other YouTubers that just kind of speculate about stuff that don't know what they're talking about. Another YouTuber that I like quite a bit, Blackie Speaks. He is a hip-hop YouTuber, hip-hop commentary, and I think he does great stuff. He doesn't really get into, like, I mean, he talks about street stuff a little bit, but he's not a street guy. You know, there's like a lot of people in kind of the hip-hop space that all they do is talk about who shot who and who's going to jail. and just sort of like glorify or highlight the kind of street stuff. And he's not like that at all. In fact, he's sort of always does a good job, I think, of being appropriately critical of that, because I think one of the unfortunate things about the hip hop commentary space is that I think a lot of those people really do kind of glorify the violence and the beef and stuff like that. And Blackie Speaks never does that. I think he's like critical of it without coming off as like, holier than thou. When I want commentary on that kind of stuff, he's one of my favorite people for that reason. Just if you want to know about, kind of mainstream hip hop commentary, I would highly suggest giving his stuff a look. Another person, Justin Hawkins. Justin Hawkins is the singer of The Darkness and also a very funny guy.
I don't know. I'd say because of the hairstyle, that's instantly recognizable, and of course, an artist that deserves a tribute of some sort. I'm going to give that a 7. Angus.
See, this is my kind of content. Ranking rock and roll statues. That's my kind of content. In addition to being a super talented musician, very, very, very good YouTuber. I was really surprised because a lot of musicians are kind of bad at social media and like bad at YouTube. And he's great. He's like legitimately just really, really, really good on YouTube. And again, kind of going back to the same thing as Nick and Rick and Mary Spender, of just like being a likable person who's also knowledgeable about music, but just a likable person that you feel like you want to hang out with. And that's the thing that I think I'm not very good at, being likable. And that makes me sad because I don't want people to think I'm an asshole. But I see why, compared to someone like him or Nick for that matter, I don't want people to hate me. I really don't. And so with people like Justin, and Nick and Rick, I think it's really just a good reminder that I think, what's the saying? You catch more bees with honey than vinegar. That's what I think is the biggest lesson here. He's just like a really genuinely chill, entertaining guy with a pleasant voice. Pleasant voice also, something I can't, that will never happen. I will never have a pleasant voice, unfortunately. But, at the very least, I can try to learn from some of the people out there who do good stuff. Also, I want to give a shout out to a few other people. Fluff, good friend of mine, for many years. Fluff really helped me get my channel off the ground back in the very beginning. And he gave me the idea for the video that made my channel eventually pop off, which was my video called How to Bring Me the Horizon Get So Big. I was sitting next to him at a wedding, at Joey Sturgis's wedding in like 2018 or something like that. And I was kind of like struggling to get my channel off the ground at the time. And he just was like bouncing ideas around with me. And we came up with that one. And he was like, yeah, dude, do that one. That's going to be big. I was like, I don't know. And lo and behold, he was right. So yeah, shout out to Fluff, because like legitimately without his advice and input, back in the very beginning, I wouldn't be where I am. Really just can't say enough good things about him and how much I appreciate his help. And, he's such an OG. He's been doing this for like 10 fucking years. I think he started in 2013, maybe 2012. He's been doing this for like 10 fucking years. I've been doing it for 5 years. Also got to give a shout out to Jared Dines, another man from same neck of the woods, used to be in a band with Fluff. Again, another one of these people who just sort of shows you what's possible. 3 million subscribers, and doing really cool shit, even still innovating to this day. Like he did this musician mansion thing, which unfortunately I couldn't go to this just because we have a baby and stuff like that. But, again, someone who's been doing this for a very long time and who's really shows you what's possible. I think what I learned from him is like to be entertaining. You know what I mean? That's our job at the end of the day, is to entertain people. And I think he's one of the best. I think he showed a lot of people how music content could be entertaining. I don't think I'll ever be as entertaining as he is. That's just not me. But yeah, I mean, it's just really inspiring to see what he's done. And I think with him, that's sort of like the takeaway for me is always like, how can I make this entertaining? What would Jared do that would make this more entertaining? I don't think I'll ever be as good at it as he is, but that's how I try to approach it. Well, that does it for this edition of Relentlessly Destroying Your Favorite Music YouTubers with Compliments. Thank you to any of these people who have helped me personally in any way, or just, inspired me or anything like that. It is a small world. We got to look out for each other, people. Got to look out for each other. YouTubers protecting other YouTubers. That's what it's all about.